Our guest speaker this morning has launched multiple campaigns. And you may not be familiar with him, but you have definitely seen his work, his campaigns all around Singapore. Some of his works, for example, the Yellow Ribbon Project. Yes, I see some nods all across. Yellow Ribbon Projects, you'll see some on billboards, on posters, on social media, giving ex-offenders a second chance. And of course, the numerous car decals, that's for life. You see it all over in Singapore on the car decals in numerous cars. So our guest speaker this morning, he's passionate about many things, but one of his greatest passion is about rebuilding the family and restoring fathers to the children and children to the fathers. So, Hope Singapore. Let us give a warm, rapturous welcome to our speakers, Mr. Jason Wong.
Morning, church. Morning, Pastor. Morning, Northeast. I understand that there's a group up in the Northeast. Even just now when I was worshiping, I just sensed that there's fire going to spread in the Northeast. So that's especially for you, Northeast. Today I'm going to share with you on men in the family. Who is the weaker sex, men or women? Who say men? Who say men? Yeah, I see a few hands raised by men, you know. Who say woman? You men dare to raise your hands. Okay, what's my answer? My opinion, don't hit me. I think it's men. I'll give you 3 reasons. 1, 90% of prisoners are men. I worked in the prisons before, so we always get ourselves into trouble. Second reason, when my daughter, well, the younger one, By the way, I showed this photo giving a parenting talk in the school, and at the end, one gentleman came up to me and said, just now I heard you say you have 2 children. How come I saw 3? I went back, I told my wife, and she was so happy. You know? Now, this was taken a few years ago. 23 years ago, when my daughter Sarah was born, I was there in the room. My wife was giving birth. It was like Jurassic Park. I wasn't a dinosaur. I was being scratched. At the end of the experience, I told God, thank God I'm not a woman. I don't think I can do that. How many of you want to give birth, men? How many of you? I don't think so, see? God has chosen a stronger gender to give birth. Third reason, if man is able to do all the things that God wanted man to do, why does God need to create a helper to help man? But the problem now is that how come man is not able to do all the things that man is supposed to do? You know why? It's the woman's fault. Supposed to help, don't help, nag. Supposed to help, don't help, outside CEO, come back also CEO. Nowadays, we encourage women to be on the board, right? Wow, then very good, right? Control, giving directions, making decisions, come home, also do that. That's not according to God's design. But I think the issue is not whether man is weaker or man is stronger. It's like playing badminton or table tennis or doubles. You play doubles. You need 2 players. If one player is not pulling his weight, sometimes can't be helped. The other player have to cover. It's very tiring. And I know of moms, wives have to do sometimes both husband and wife job, mother and father job. And similarly, the other way around, because sometimes mom are so active, out there being CEO that come home exhausted. So today, I'm going to touch on men in the family. As you can see, there are 2 men there. By the way, my son is a man now, 17 years old. Do you think he's taller than me or shorter than me? Who say taller? You're right. How come? It's my wife's genes. Anyway, proud to have him as my son. Now, before we talk about men in the family, let's talk about family, because family is important. Family is the basic building block. I like the Chinese version because English version is very long-winded. Family is the basic building block of society. Long-winded. Chinese, 国家. Awesome, right? Of course, we say 没有国哪有家, but I think 没有家哪有国. If family is the foundation, then without the foundation, how can there be a strong nation? It's like this building. If the foundation is not strong, you think you dare to see here? I think you'll rush out. I will rush out. The foundation is family. Where did family come from? Whose idea is it? Because if it is man's idea, we decide how to do family. If it is God's idea, then we better listen to how God wants us to do family. It's all the way back in Genesis. In the beginning, God created heavens and earth, created everything, and then give birth to man. It's like, how many of you are parents here? Before your baby come, right, something happened in the house, right? Something happened in one corner of the room, right? You prepare everything, then the baby come. Well, there's a cot lah, there's whatever lah, ting tong, ling long lah, all those stuff. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, and then God blessed them and said, be fruitful. See, Singaporeans not very fruitful. That's why you guys are into trouble. Schools are closing. Teachers losing jobs. So we go back to God's design. Now, the three order of relationships. God created man in his image. That's a God and man relationship. Male and female, that's a husband and wife. Be fruitful, parents and children. Then fill the earth and subdue. We always want to talk about man in the marketplace. Maybe that's the next message, man in the marketplace. But first, man in the family. Because without man in the family sorted out, man cannot be effective in the marketplace. Before we sorted out these three relationships, God, man, husband and wife, father and child, parents and children, we cannot go out there and be effective. When our families are breaking down, how can we be concentrating at work? We can't even go into missions, we can't do evangelism, we cannot do a lot of things. Because it's like the right leg and left leg. If my right leg is not strong, I want to go and chiong. I want to be a CEO, managing director. I want to grow my business. But my family is struggling. This leg must be strong in order to venture out. Men in the family first before men in the marketplace. So now let's go into men in the family. And I pray that at the end of this sharing, the men will begin to rise up. First in the family, sort that out. And then, I'm sure you will be effective because this is God's order. This is God's design. Cannot go wrong. So let's do that. Restoring God-man relationship, husband and wife relationship, father-child relationship. If you forget everything I say for the rest of the sharing, just remember this. And measure yourself. How close am I to God, the Father? He created me in His image. It's like our children is in His image. Our children are in our image. Hey, you look like your father, no? Right? Our children are in our image. We are in God's image. That means His father, husband and wife, and then father and child. You sort this out, everything else will be in order. The nation will be in order as well. Your church will be in order. Do we believe that God created man in His image? Many of us don't think so. We believe we come from apes. If we come from apes, then we behave like apes. I like this. This is what the Lord says. Let not the wise man boast of his wisdom, the strong man boast of his strength, the rich man boast of his riches, but let him who boasts boast about this. Who am I as a man? God created me. Who am I? Am I based on how smart I am, the PhD that I get? Dr. Jason Wong, wow, I am a doctorate. Professor, wow, that's who I am. Is that my identity? Or my strength? How strong I am. Wow, you look good, huh? Wow, what powder do you eat, huh? When I was a teenager, I want to be strong because I still couldn't make it, I see my friends, wow, getting stronger and stronger, all the muscles all over. I was just a teenager. I want that because that's a man. That looks like a man. This one doesn't look like a man, like a stick. Right? And then, guess what? Convinced my mom to give me money because we are not so rich, but convinced her to give me money, bought a tin, and then because my friend recommended, go and eat powder, right? After a while, I got constipated. Tasted terrible. In those days especially, maybe now it tastes better. Is that who I am? I am how I look? I am how smart I am? Is that my identity? Or how rich we are? Wow, that house. Sometimes we drive a car and then we look at the other car, We're still not satisfied, we want the other car. And then nowadays the watches, right? You don't own it, you're only keeping it for the next generation. Are you the watch you wear? The toys you have? Men like toys. Wow, car lah, I don't know lah. Is man all that? But interestingly, it says, let him who boasts boast about this. There's something that man can boast about. And that is your identity. And that's where you get your identity. That he understands and knows me, that I am the Lord. A true man is one who knows his Father, a true man who knows God, the one who created him and put him on earth. We must get that first order right. The rest will fall into place. To restore sonship, vertical relationship with God, to restore kinship, relationship with each other. The Lord's Prayer. Did the Lord's Prayer start with, thy kingdom come, thy will be done? No, that's the chiong part, It's like, let's go and chiong, let's go and build God's kingdom, God's will, not let's go and chiong. But God never started with, Jesus never started with that. Jesus started with the Lord's Prayer. What's the first part of Lord's Prayer? Our Father in heaven. He's talking about this. Relationship with God. Our Father. Did he say, my Father in heaven? He said, our Father. There's a vertical relationship. We are brothers and sisters. The prodigal son. One father, two sons. You see, there's a father relationship. There's a horizontal relationship. Of course, one of the brothers or one of the sons said, I'm not good enough. Correct? Which son said, I'm not good enough? I'm not worthy. The younger or the older? The younger. Who is the one that said, he's not good enough? He's not worthy. The older. You see, even though they have a vertical relationship with the father, they didn't have a horizontal relationship with each other. And that is scary. That is scary. So we need to restore that vertical relationship and the horizontal relationship. God-man relationship. Second, husband and wife relationship. I'm not a perfect husband. When I got married, maybe just talk about husband and wife. Because if Satan can destroy this relationship, Satan will destroy family. Satan will destroy the church, will destroy the nation. Can you remember Ashley Madsen? Ashley Madsen is not a lady. It's a website that promotes adultery. It almost came to Singapore 5 years ago. But fortunately, I think there are a group of people who went to the government and said, let's stop this from coming to Singapore because they're making money out of infidelity. And the tagline is beautiful, right? Life is short, have an affair. That's scary, isn't it? It didn't come to Singapore, but it went to many other nations. In fact, based on my research, this is not the top website of this kind. It's probably the second. That means there are many other websites that want to destroy marriages. And then, somehow, the data got leaked. All the hundreds and thousands of data got leaked. And I was told, actually I read it, that in Singapore, we have some people who use this service. And I think there are about 30 or 40 with an email address ending with moe.gov.sg. If any of us want to do something like that, please don't use our office address. And one of the paras said, Canadian media in July reported that 1 in 5 Ottawa residents, or nearly 200,000 people were registered, just in one city in Canada, were registered with this website. And this is not the only website, there are many other websites, making the city the most infidelity-friendly. Can you imagine Singapore known as, do you want Singapore to be known as the most infidelity-friendly? No, I don't want. I think we want Singapore to be the family-friendly, marriage-friendly, children-friendly, but not infidelity-friendly. But that's what's happening all over the world. Men, what's happening to men? Also women. So 25 years ago when I got married, this was the passage that I used. I think all of us who got married will have a favorite passage. And even now when I give ang pao to young people who get married, I will also write Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. Because it worked for me. And I pray that it will work for the newly married couples. 2 are better than 1. Because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? So one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. I've been hanging on to that last verse. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. This is not the third party. It's not talking about a third party. Or fourth party or fifth party. It is talking about God in the center of our marriage. Again, God-man relationship. The vertical relationship and the horizontal relationship. It's talking about that. God is the third party. Make sure no other third party. Or maybe children. You want children, then that's okay. I thank God that He had always been the third party, the third strand that keep my marriage strong. I mean, there are times that, frankly speaking, I mean, I'm not sure how many married couples are totally perfect, totally happy, every day, every hour, 24/7. You know, sometimes for me, man in the marketplace, right? You know, I chiong lah, right? Prison officer, yellow ribbon, and sometimes I get very busy. I attend meetings, I chair meetings. I chair meetings is okay. I like chairing meetings because I'm in charge. I don't quite like attending meetings, especially certain meetings where they're going nowhere. And then, there was one meeting where I almost wanted to bang table and walk out. I was so frustrated with the whatever. I don't want to mention names. Anyway, I'm a nice guy. I don't bang table. So if you don't bang table, what do you do, guys? You absorb everything, right? Then you bottle it up. Then it's going to explode. Then you come home. You explode, right? So there are two ways to make it to explode. Now, one is shout and scream and beat up everybody. The other way is just, men are attracted to boxes. Refrigerator, iPod, iPad, computer, newspapers, television. We are attracted to boxes, except our wife, not a boxer. So I was attracted to my box. I let it out in front of my box. What's the television at the time? Our newspapers, but that day was television. And so at the time, I like to watch American Idol. I was so happy American Idol was showing that night because I can de-stress, especially the first few episodes. They can't sing, they want to sing, they can't dance, they want to dance. Make me happy, make me laugh. So I just sat there looking at the television, laughing, Then my wife came downstairs. Come home, only watch TV. Never help with the children. I don't want to burden my wife with all my work problems. I don't want to tell her all my problems. So I love her, right? So don't talk, continue to watch and laugh. The problem is this, when how many of you got smart devices? When the whole day you've been using it, at the end of the day, when it runs out of battery, what do? You charge, right? You put there. Then there's a wire. Then you wait and wait and wait. It looks like it's not doing anything, but it's actually recharging. So I was sitting there. It looks like I'm not doing anything, but I was recharging. Now, just the problem is that I don't have a wire between me and the television. I think next time I should just hook up a wire and then my wife will understand. So that night didn't talk. I think that was a silent quarrel. Went back to office the next day. Halfway through, I was looking at my computer, of course, clear my emails. And then I saw my wife send me an email. Send me email for what? On the talk lah, right? So no choice, click long email someone. So got to read lah, then she explained, she went, yesterday I was so busy lah, doing this, doing that, she busy lah, bring her mom see doctor, blah, blah, blah. And then me come home, watch TV, never help her. And as I was reading, I also have a terrible day. I don't want to tell you only lah. So I was crafting an email. I was a public civil servant at the time. You receive public complaints, you reply lah. Standard complaint, standard reply. But this one, non-standard complaint. How many civil servants here? Non-standard complaint, very difficult. Must craft very hard. How to reply this one? Cannot just cut and paste. This one must reply and hopefully never come back again, right? So I was crafting in my head. I said, God, I also have a terrible day. So I will explain to her. As I was about to type, a voice in my head, God spoke to me, don't you dare. I said, why not? I watch TV only what? Then God said, you should have come to me, not your television. I said, that's true. Okay lah. So instead of typing, I took out my smartphone. It was charged, got battery. I'm sorry, I will never watch TV again, send. After I sent, I regretted. Cannot take back. Because the smart Jason Wong said, I should have said, I will never watch so much TV again. Or I will never watch American Idol again. Why did I say I will never watch TV again? Die. So I told myself, when I go home, I'm going to tell my wife I missed out a few words. But I didn't, because you know why? I went to the last paragraph. I read it a few times. Because in the last paragraph, she said, Jason, everybody knows you, everybody respect you. Outside the street, sometimes ex-prisoner bring their wife, bring their children, come and thank you for helping them. In church, you're a lay leader, you started the yellow ribbon, you started prison ministry, However, I don't like the word however. However, how you are at home, nobody knows. Watch TV only one. No choice, husband and wife quarrel. Watch TV also can. And then she said, sometimes when we quarrel, she has nobody to talk to, nobody to share with. I thought she has what? She have a cell group, all the ladies, you can tell them what. And then she said, I never tell anybody about our problems because I do not want you to look bad in front of them. My wife was protecting my reputation. She was my helper. And God has given her to me as my helper. If you want to know the true Jason Wong, talk to my wife. And so I was repenting before the Lord. I heard God say, as Christ loved the church, you shall love your wife. I said, God, you die for your church. You want me to die for my wife? Silence. You argue with God, sure lose. And so I repented. I went to the door. I locked the door. I was CEO of SCORE at the time, of a statutory board, doing yellow ribbon, national movement, I cried in my office. I locked the door, make sure nobody sees me. And then I heard God say, no point being a hero outside and a zero at home. So that night, went back, cannot watch TV. Because the God-man relationship is settled. Now I have to settle the husband and wife relationship. And because I stopped watching TV, I have more time with my children. My son, 5 years younger, benefited. One time, Father's Day, when he was younger, he drew me a Father's Day card. On post-it pad, I just blew it up for you to see. He quite cheapskate. He never buy card. He just, shh, don't tell him. It's recorded. Die. Can you delete this part? Some of you may know him. And then he said, thanks for reading to me storybooks. I have time to read storybooks. Thanks for telling me scary ghost stories. Jalan, this one pastor shake his head. Cannot tell ghost stories, but no choice. If I don't tell, he can borrow all those books from his friends. So if I tell, I can control the ending, right? I say, Jesus come at the end, the angels came, and all the demons flee. Good, But before I start, usually he said, Dad, don't start first. Wait. Then I said, why? Then he covered both of us with the blanket, switch over the lights, cover both of us with a blanket, and he hold me and said, okay, go. Wow. The scarier it gets, the tighter the hug. Nowadays, he taller than me. He don't want to hug me already. Dad, please. Embarrassing. And thanks for teaching me my subjects. And I like the last bit that he wrote. Thank you for being a good father and organizing the father and child movement. The Dads for Life movement, sometimes mothers ask, how come no moms for life? No need, because of Dads for Life, now there's a life for moms. I didn't say it. It came from a principle. Okay? Yeah. It's not about fathers or mothers. It's about our children. Isn't it good for mothers to be involved, for fathers to be involved? The whole Dads for Life is about getting fathers to be more involved. Okay, by the way, just in case you think I have stopped watching TV for life. No, I'm a dad for life, but cannot stop watching TV for life. Of course, our children are older now. I still remember last year, myself and my wife, we were on the bed. We watched Descendants of the Sun from beginning to end over a few weeks. So romantic, right? Okay. So I'm not that holy. I still watch TV now. Restoring the father-child relationship. Now, that's the last. So first, God-man. Always go back to that. Because with that in place, husband and wife relationship will be easy to sort out. And then the father-child, the child-father relationship will be easy to sort out. How Dads for Life was started, how the whole fathers movement in Singapore was started, because of an encounter I had with God 10 years ago in Jerusalem. It was a conference, and the conference was talking about releasing the Joshua generation, the next generation. Nobody was talking about the sub-theme, which was turning hearts of fathers to the children to the fathers, until God revealed it to me in the Revelation, in an encounter with Him. It comes from Malachi 4:5-6. I will send you Elijah. He will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the children to the fathers. Of course, I asked God, why you send Elijah? Why don't you send Moses? Why don't you send David? Why don't you send Paul? Why do you send Elijah? Elijah is always linked to Elisha. Elijah was a father to Elisha. Double portion. Can you imagine if our generation impart double portion to the next generation of the right kind? Because when I received this, I was in MSF working. I was in charge of family violence, child abuse. The children that I work with, can you imagine? The child said, Dad, you give me one punch, can you give me double? Or Dad, you left Mom. Maybe when I grow up, I will be just like you. No, I think that's not good enough. I will be double that. I'll be worse than you. If every generation of men or fathers, we impart the right kind of double portion, the next generation, can you imagine? They receive it, they go into the arts, the media, the government, the education. It was such a blessing to the nation, right? But it's not happening because we are not rising up as fathers. Our hearts are not turned towards, our hearts have been turned away. Our work, our vices, our gambling, our football, our hearts have been turned against. But our hearts are supposed to be turned towards. Then they will receive the double portion. Now, impact of fathers' involvement. These are all the research. Just Google search, you will find the research. Fathers are important. I'm not saying mothers are not important. Mothers are important. Fathers are also important. I remember I did a video here. Quickly, let me explain. There's a difference between mothering and fathering. Because if you don't know, and whenever the school send a letter, dear parents, what do you do when you receive a letter, dear parents? What do fathers do when you receive a letter, dear parents? You give to the mother. Fathers tell me that. I say, why? It's dear parents, it's not dear mothers. Because we think that there's no difference between mothering and fathering. There is a difference. That's why God created male and female. Mothers and fathers. Toys, sunlight and water, you need both. Toys, mummies buy toys. Daddies are the toys. Right? Go to the zoo, come back, the child said, Mom, I want a horse. The mom said, I will buy you a toy horse tomorrow. If the dad is around, what would the dad say? I'm the horse, come. Nowadays, it's not easy, Avengers, Spider-Man, Superman. Not easy to be a father. Except Wonder Woman. That's the mother's job. Protecting children. Moms protect children differently from fathers. Moms will say, don't run. Don't run now, you fall down, you hurt yourself. Don't climb, come down. Don't throw out, you'll break something. Can you please sit down, don't move? What will the dad say? Run, come on, run, chase. Come on, climb. Don't worry, I'll catch you. Come on, go. Throw something, break something, never mind. Mommy not here. Now, does it mean that fathers don't protect children, take risks all the time? No, mummies protect children now, make sure the children don't hurt themselves now. Fathers protect children by preparing them for the future. Our boys to men is the father's job. If you do psychology, you would have heard detached from the mom, attached to the father. The child grows up, mummies, you need to cut the umbilical cord twice. One is when the child is born, cut, physical detachment. The emotional detachment you have to cut. If not, the boy will grow up, mommy's boy. Man outside, boy inside. But how does a boy grow up to be a man? Needs another man, the father, to bring the boy out to show him how to be a man. Samuel, you're a man, you have what it takes. Sounds good, right? If I'm not around to do that, my wife takes over, what will she say? Samuel, you're a man, come on, be a man. How to be a man? That's why we have this Dads for Life and to help fathers to be more involved with the father's life. Can you show the video now? How are fathers in churches doing? If fathers in the community are rising up to be more involved, what about fathers in the churches? Percentage of church youth who view their mom as very religious. How many of you say more than 50%? This is US stats. Maybe we are slightly better, I don't know. Less than 50%? 48. How many view their dad as being very religious? How many say more than mom? How many say less than mom? You're right. Have experienced either family devotions, prayer, or Bible reading? How many say more than 50%? Less than 50%. In Singapore, it should be 100%. You know why? Because it say either or. Either one of this. Because in Singapore, we have PSLE, O-level, A-level. It should be 100% because we pray all the time. Experience the family service project, doing community service, family service together, serving God together. Not very good. Talk with mom about faith. Just talk about God, about stuff of God, about faith. How many say more than 50%? Very low. Talk with dad about faith. How many say more than mom? How many say less than mom? It's very interesting. Every church I go to, every group of parents or Christian groups I go to, majority, including men, will raise their hand that dad is not doing very well. The question then is, how come we are not changing these statistics? If we know, can we do something about it? Can we collectively help each other to do something about it? And that was when, a few years ago, together with a few Christian fathers, we were led to this verse. Elijah wasn't alone to turn hearts of fathers to the children. God said there's 7,000 who have not bowed down. So as a result, we started to come together to encourage Christian fathers to rise up. Even today, as I stand here, I pray that you are a Christian father, you are a father in the church, you rise up. You help each other to be involved, to be the spiritual head of the family. And when we came together to pray 3 years ago, Jubilee, right, 50th anniversary. The 50th anniversary of Singapore, Jubilee. So these few fathers came to me and said, Jason, I think we need to pray. As the head of the household, with the spiritual authority given to us, we should come together to pray for families. Since it's the 50th year, from Father's Day to National Day, exactly 50 days. I said, wow, okay. Then someone said, maybe you should pray on Father's Day. I said, that's a good idea. Another person said, maybe you should pray on National Day also. I said, that's a good idea. Another guy said, I think we should pray for all 50 days. I said, huh? Men are not very prayerful, right? And then, of course, we asked, do we pray on our own spontaneous, at home, we call each other and start praying? Or then another guy said, no, we should come together. Once in 50 years, we must come together. I said, come together, what time? Some of us are working. He said, 4, 5, 6. Malachi chapter 4, verse 5 and 6. 4, 5, 6, but 4, 5, 6 a.m. or 4, 5, 6 p.m.? Because p.m., everybody working, right? Then they say, then a.m. Huh? A.m.? First, I'm not a morning person. I'm also not a praying person. I mean, not that kind of prayer, right? And then they said, Jason, you're the chairman. You go and think about it. So I went back, I prayed. I said, God, are you sure you want us to pray for 50 days? Okay, maybe that's okay. That's a good idea. Are you sure you want us to wake up early in the morning for 1 hour, pray, and then gather together for 50 days? You know what God said? Jason, you want the nation to turn. You want the nation to be strong. You want the fathers to rise up. You want the families to be strong. You want the next generation to find and fulfill their destiny. And you fathers cannot even wake up for 50 days to pray, and you want me to change and transform your nation. I broke down. I repented before the Lord. I said, if Jesus had to wake up every morning to pray, even though he's the Son of God, and I can't do that, I'm bluffing myself. And so I went back to the group and said, I think God said yes. And at the time, our faith was very biblical. When 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, you will be in the midst. We were just expecting 3 people. Someone to lead, someone to play guitar, someone to attend. But they kept coming from different churches because there's a group of fathers who believe that we need to pray for our children, for the next generation, for God to move in families. So we did that. Amazing. And after the first 50 days, they said, how? Finished already? Huh, you want some more? Then they said, okay, why don't we come together every Saturday? And then we continue. And then the second year came, 2016. They said, I think we should do it again, right? Then we counted from Father's Day to National Day, 51 days. That was the 51st year of Singapore. I said, okay, confirmation, let's do it again. Now, this year, we're going to do it again. Nobody's going to ask whether we are going to do it again. We have been doing this 50 days after that every Saturday. And sometimes when we come together to pray, God will give downloads. God gave so many downloads for us, for families, for children, for an issue of abortion, the fatherless, and as we receive, we didn't know what to do with it. We say, why don't we come together for a retreat? Maybe you should put this all and then maybe put it into action. Mobilize more fathers and more people to come on board. And then during this retreat last year, God showed us 7 areas, including the issue of abortion. Abortion is not a woman's issue, it's a man's issue. Where do babies come from? It takes a man and a woman. Very often when the woman says, I don't know what to do with this baby. If the man says, you decide, you decide. You decide, I support you. Basically, man is saying, I don't want to be responsible for that child that I was involved in giving birth to. It's so sad, isn't it? And so when we came together, God spoke to us. And there were 2 women that turned up. One at the beginning, we invited Jennifer Hing to share with us about the issue of abortion. And then bang, he convicted a few of the fathers. Now they are rising up. The other woman that showed up, you know who? You recognize her? Heidi Baker. You know Heidi Baker? Some of you probably know. I don't know her. A few of us don't know. But those who knew, when she walked into the room, we were about to end our retreat. When she was about to walk in, and when she walked in, we were all men, right? Some of these Angmo lady walk in. A few of them recognized her and said, wow, Heidi is here, Heidi is here. The rest who do not recognize her say, who is this woman? Why is she here? And she walked in and she sat down on the chair. We were in the circle. From the chair, she went on her knees. All of us went down on the knees with her. The presence of God filled the whole place. She started releasing words. We were breaking down. We were crying. All fathers crying. And then she said, I come as a mother to release words to the fathers. And of course, subsequently, we found out why she came. In fact, she was supposed to be one of the speakers for Kingdom Invasion last year. And then before she comes, she's supposed to go to Vietnam, then go Hong Kong, then come to Singapore. But God told her to cancel the Vietnam trip, fly to Singapore before she goes to Hong Kong. And when she came to Singapore, God told her from the airport, go to Changi Cove. And we were at Changi Cove having a retreat. And then when she was walking Changi Cove with one of the staff there, as she was walking, she said, room 7, I want to go to room 7. Where is room 7? We were in room 7. We never asked for room 7, we just wanted a room for our retreat. The hotel gave us the room. And when she walked into room 7, we were there. God was using her to confirm with the fathers of the nation that what you are doing is right. Raise up the fathers. Raise up the fathers. It's not just about turning hearts of fathers to the children. It's also about turning hearts of children to the fathers. The land will not be struck with a curse. God showed me to reach the young people. Even young men, the sons, the daughters, turn our hearts back to the family. Let's watch this short video.
My most favorite part of the camp is family prayers because you get to bond and you also get to learn how families make decisions together.
I think it's important to start them young, getting them to know what are the values that they have, and just being able to understand that for themselves will help them and their peers understand what family is all about.
Something that I learned from this camp is that parents are important. Both mom and dad are very important in our life. If we lack of one support, we will fall down because if the foundation of the building is not strong, the building will not last long and it will just collapse.
I used to be frustrated and angry about my family, but after he stopped, I learned that we cannot choose the kind of family that we live in, but we can make the best out of the situation.
He has made some visit to some places where he has learned a lot of new things which I believe will contribute to his upbringing. The most significant thing that I heard from him today is that he's a changed person.
We don't really have this much occasions where I can tell my dad how much I really love him. He's the best father that I have.
For me, the most significant moment was when the letter to the parents. I thought it was really nice.
For me, she took the dinner to serve us. It's normally at home we will have to keep asking her to take her dinner, and now she's serving us and with a smile on her face.
Camp, I think we learn to respect our parents more and also to learn to trust our parents and to build up a strong relationship that can withstand anything that we're going to go through. I just want to tell my dad and my mom that I'm so blessed with them and thankful that I'm given a chance to come to this camp and hope that more people will get the chance to come to this camp.
You know, I want to show this part because I know many fathers are turning our hearts back to our families, to our children. But I also know that a lot of children are not able to turn our hearts back to our fathers. But God said both must turn towards each other. We need to honor both father and mother. Then there will be life. I remember talking to young men that will go on and on about his father. Then one time I was talking to this man, a young man, complaining about his father. And God gave me a word for him. Just ask him a question. So I asked him, how is your father fathered by his father? And he stopped complaining. He looked down. And I said, what are you thinking? He said, my father was never fathered well by his father. So I told him, your father cannot give you what he has not received. If I receive love, I can give love. If I receive pain, I'm going to give pain. If I've been hurt, I will hurt other people unless God come into my life and change all that. So this young man was able to forgive his father, knowing what happened to his father when his father was young. I know my time is up, but I want to request for another 3-4 minutes to share this dream. It's a prophetic dream we want to release here. You're not the first church that I shared, but I thought this is part of the message I'm sharing. During the year of Jubilee, there was a big gathering at Indoor Stadium. That was the year that we have spent 50 days praying, the fathers coming together to pray early in the morning. At the end of it, this was the gathering, a few thousand people gathered in Indoor Stadium. I was there. The night before, I had a dream. So I'm going to share that dream with you. In that dream, during the year of Jubilee, after the 50 days of prayer, in the dream, I saw a father carrying a baby. And I walked towards the father, looking at the baby. After a while, the father lifted up the baby, as if the father was so proud of the baby, wanted everybody to see. But I was the only other person in the dream, so I just kept looking at the baby. After a while, this father leaned towards me and handed the baby over to me. Now, if you are a parent, you would not hand over a baby like that. You hand over a baby like that and say, hey, be careful, don't drop. But this father handed the baby over to me, entrusting it to me. So I lifted my hands and I carried the baby, looking at the baby. And next day, I was there at the conference, the first day at the conference. The dream kept coming back. I said, God, it must be from you. What are you saying? And the understanding came. The Father represents God the Father, lifting up Singapore, wanting the whole world to see Singapore. Very proud of Singapore. Of course, when the first understanding came, I said, God, Singapore is 50 years old, should be a 50-year-old man like me, how come it's a baby? And that was when I heard God say, it's a reset button. It's about the next 50 years. How many of you will be around for the next, in SG 100? I think yesterday's services, there will be many raise their hands. I think many of us will say, we celebrate SG 100 up there looking down, is it? Go! It's a reset button. I heard God say, everything about Singapore is locked up in the next generation. The next 50 years of Singapore depends on what happens to the next generation. And with that, I asked God, I said, God, what do I represent? I was the only person in the dream other than you and the baby. And I heard God say, fathers, you represent fathers. The next generation needs to be fathered. I'm now mentoring a lot of young men. They are looking for fathers, spiritual fathers. It's like the Elisha looking for the Elijah, the Joshua looking for the Moses. The Timothy's looking for the Paul. Where are the Elijah? Where are the Paul? Because there are many Elishas, there are many Joshuas waiting for the fathers and the spiritual fathers. So with this dream, I kept it. 2 months later, I went back to my office. I was doing staff devotion, so I shared because there are many young people there. This was 2 months later in November. After sharing, one of the staff came up who was in charge of Fam Champs, just now the camp, the youth camp. He came up to me and said, Jason, I want to show you this photo, which was taken a few months before this. This was done by a group of young people who were going through the camp. It's a family service project. They're supposed to do family theme projects. So they drew this. So I looked at it, I said, well, it doesn't look like the one that I described. Mine was a father lifting up a baby. This is a young boy sitting on the shoulder. This was done in April, by the way, the year of Jubilee, April. A few months before, I had a dream. They said, no, not this side of the egg. It's the other side of the egg. This was designed by the youths themselves. Do not know where they got the idea from. They drew a baby with the nation of Singapore, the flag of Singapore, 2 hands lifting it up. When they drew this, was April 2015. I had a dream in September. I shared it in November. God is concerned about the next generation. God is concerned about the nation. But we need the fathers and the mothers to father them, to disciple them, to raise them up. All the dreams that God has for Singapore is locked up in the next generation. Can I invite the worship team to come? Just allow what God has used me to share with you to sink in, to reflect. Maybe some of you think that, oh, it's about the next generation. Okay, it's not about me. Do you know that when the Joshua generation crossed over to the River Jordan into the Promised Land, who was the oldest person there? Or one of the oldest? Is it only the young crossover? You know, Caleb said, give me this mountain. Caleb was 85. Now I raised the bar from 85 to 92 already. Because the elections across the causeway, 92 years old. 85 is still too young. Caleb crossed over. Everybody crossed over into the Promised Land. Everybody entered into the destiny. The Moses, the Joshua, the Elijah, the Elisha, the Paul, the Timothy, everybody crossed over. No one left behind. Those who are left behind are dead. So just in case the older ones here think that, oh, it doesn't concern me. It does. Everyone crossed over. Young men, older men. Let's worship the Lord, and then we'll pray.